Yo, 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 what's up, guys? We're
What
back here.
up?
So we talking about sports, guys. We're back here for another breakdown. We're going live for Game 6 of the NBA Finals. We got a potential closeout game. The Bucks, they took Game 5 from Phoenix this past Saturday. So the Bucks find themselves up 3-2 after going down 2-0, and all roads looking like Phoenix was going to walk away with this championship. So, guys, I mean, I just got to ask to start the pod off. What was y'all's takeaway from Game 5? Where were y'all watching it? It was a pretty intense game, so I imagine if you guys were in a good environment, things were getting pretty wild. So let me hear it. What were y'all's takes?
I was going to say it was a tale of two halves, man, but it was just one quarter for the Suns, and they seemed to lose themselves. Everybody but Booker just seemed to go missing again like it's been. And tonight's their first backs against the wall game. The Suns haven't been in an elimination game where their backs have been against the wall yet. So this is the first time it happens to be on the biggest stage. I mean, we'll talk about our expectations in a bit, but I mean, it kind of seems like the Bucks just have their foot on the Suns' throat, man.
What about you,
my reaction is I just don't know what the hell's going on in this series. I don't know, bro, because I mean the Suns killed it. They come out with a 2-0 lead. The Bucks are the second team that might win 4 games in a row in the finals. The Suns blow the spread. The over hits one game, it doesn't hit the other game. This is the unexpected, most improbable series to me. I didn't see much of the last game. I'll be honest. My little cousin had a graduation party, so we had all the tios and the tias were outside, like dancing to wapangos, and I'm like dancing, and then I'm like trying to go inside and check the score at the same time. But I will say that I was on the Suns the last game. I go in, I see the 18 point lead, and I'm like, man, I'm Gucci. Let's drink some beers, and then I go in at halftime, and my tío was like, "Hey, the Suns are down." And after that, I just didn't tune in too much after that because I didn't want to, get too distracted.
Tale of two quarters, like Ben was saying. The first quarter, the Suns went off. The Suns are probably the best first quarter team in the NBA this year. They're known for getting off to good starts, but I think Ron, you pointed it out a couple of games ago. The team that's been winning the second quarter has actually been ending up and going ahead and winning the game. And the Bucks, they whipped the Suns in that second quarter. But, I don't want to focus on the negative for the Suns because we've been a Suns podcast throughout the playoffs. I'm a big CP3 guy. I have my thoughts on that. It's a pretty rough night for me as a CP3 fan watching that game. It looked like he was getting seeked out on defense. And then, just not even talking about that. The Suns couldn't get a stop to save their lives. They were making some tough shots to stay in the game, but it seemed like every time they needed to make a stop to really close that gap, Middleton was coming up with the shot. His shot making was unbelievable in the third and fourth quarter. His mid-range backup game is crazy. He has such a good release for being for that back to the basket game. When he does his turnaround, his release point so high, it's pretty hard to get a hand in his face on those turnarounds, especially when you're seeking out Chris Paul. It's almost a bucket every single time when he gets that matchup on him.
That switch.
And then Drew Holiday, man. So I'm just leaving to say that the Hawks. I was going to say the Hawks, the Bucks, the big three. They played big for the first time this playoffs. Their supposed big three that they went out and got Drew Holiday, spent a lot of cap on him to go ahead and get him in the offseason and really make the Bucks into a true contender. That's when they were trying to convince Giannis to stay in Milwaukee and say, hey, we can win it here. You don't have to go somewhere else. And Drew Holiday has been the guy in question, kind of like Chris Bosh was for the Heat in those days when they had their big three. But Drew Holiday, he came through, 27-point performance, had the big steal at the end of the game on Devin Booker, and then that alley-oop to Giannis that seemed to encapsulate the whole game. And that seems to be what everybody is walking away with was that huge alley-oop from Giannis, just like he had that huge block the game prior. Is he y'all's MVP favorite right now?
The odds say so. The odds say he's the odds-on favorite. The series price, I believe, is like Bucks at -4-1, and Giannis to win MVP is the same, -4-1. So even with Chris Middleton having these big games, Giannis' ability to do it on both ends and having that moment of the finals, I would say that block. I mean,
and the alley,
and the alley, as tough as these shots that Chris Middleton has been making at the end of games, and how he's been closing out, for the Bucks, Giannis has those plays that you just remember, those highlight reels, the Sports Center plays. Mm-hmm. And that's what everybody remembers, and we'll see if he gets it done tonight at home.
26 years old. 26 years old, Giannis, about to possibly walk away with his first title. Wow. Ron, I got to ask, because you're wearing that LeBron James jersey. What block do you prefer? The LeBron James block or that?
That's not even the question. That's not even.
I saw a lot of people making that comparison. I don't think it's a comparison either. It's Game 7 versus like Game 3 or 4, but
and it was a trail block. All right, he came out of nowhere on that, bro.
Well, but they would say that might be easier. But seeing him chase him down from that one baseline corner all the way, full court. Yeah. The Giannis block is crazy. I mean, the athleticism. That's a seven plus footer. At the end of an alley oop, and he's defending the pick and roll, and he's defending the guy with the ball, and then he drops back and gets the guy rolling as well. That was something that I was going to ask you, Roland. As far as defensively for the Bucks, I know you say that they're seeking them out. They're seeking out CP3 offensively, but do you think that the Bucks going small and having Giannis and Chris Paul, at the 4 and 5, usually CP3 gets that 5-and-1 screen. Ayton comes and screens. He gets the big man, Portis or Lopez. Usually gets to his spot, gets his shot off. Now it's Giannis and Tucker, and he's been so hesitant shooting the ball.
Say that again. CP3 being hesitant,
shooting the ball, but because of he no longer has that mismatch with the big guarding him. And it's now either Giannis or Tucker.
And the only time that he's been able to get that mismatch is when Bobby Portis has been in the game, and he's been able to get that mid range over him.
Bobby.
But bring that up, Ben. I think that's a good point, because we called that out when the Bucks were down 2-0. What's the adjustment that the Bucks can make on defense, and you can't. I mean, it's the story of Chris Paul's career. He's a pick and roll master. He's one of the best point guards of all time. You can't let him get to a spot off the pick and roll. And the Bucks have made the proper adjustment. Just not even talking about X and O's, I still want to give some shout outs to the Bucks. We've talked a lot this postseason about the Suns being one of the more well-constructed teams and, being one of the deeper teams. But the Bucks have been getting some pretty good contribution from their bench members, especially Pat Connaughton. He couldn't miss a three. Bobby Portis has been playing big for them. Definitely, and getting some.
And also, we were shitting on Coach Booz for not really making adjustments. But they've been winning the second halves of these games, and that's why they've won 3 in a row. It's been a game at halftime, and they kind of adjust and run away. And I think it's been that running Giannis at the 5 and having him guard CP3 off the screens. CP3 really doesn't have that advantage, man. And it's they've just been letting Booker go off and kind of saying everybody else beat us,
So do you think the media is gonna do what it's gonna do, and Twitter is gonna do what it's gonna do, and all of this stuff? Do you buy into this being a legacy game for Chris Paul if they go ahead and lose 4 in a row, and he already has that choker monitor behind him?
Yes.
Do you buy into that?
I'm gonna step in and say yes, because I was watching the other day, and they said, how many chances are you gonna give Chris Paul? I mean, yes, he's the point guard, and everybody has all these accolades for him, but he had a shot with the Clippers. He had a shot with other good teams, better teams, and better teams. Veterans on the squad opposed to a lot of the rookies that he has now. So this is gonna be a legacy game, and this is gonna be a legacy series, because, like Justin was mentioning, if he doesn't win, he's going to go down as one of those guys that was great but never won. Maybe like a Barkley, somebody like that. Then you're going to see him, on the TNT stand being like, hey, I'm great. And then Shaq's going to be on the other side, or in this case, maybe LeBron will be on the other side and say, yeah, but I got the rings. So good point, man. Good point about this being a legacy game, because maybe he's just going to be known as a choke artist, the guy who was great but could never get it done. CP3.
I have to agree with that take. I think it has become a legacy because this is a guy who doesn't have that much more basketball ahead of him. Mm-hmm. So I mean, how much more legacy does he have to make? This might be his last shot, and this might be his best shot. Getting a Bucks team and Giannis, who we were all shitting on, to where you can't win in the finals when your best player can't have the ball in the last 2 minutes. And here it is, it's Chris Paul that's shrinking. You know, Chris Middleton's outplaying him in the series as a number 2. Chris Middleton, a guy who's been crapped on for saying he's not even a legit number 2 to Giannis, showing up big in the playoffs. But
he's in the Michael Jordan phase of the Chris Middleton cycle.
All they need is those good 2 weeks, man. They need that good 2-week run. But as far as Chris Paul, with the way his play, he had 15 turnovers in 3 games prior to last game. Last game he did pretty well, only 2 turnovers. But tonight, you got to think he's going to play a lot to close out game. Unless he doesn't have it going, then maybe you see a little bit more Cameron Payne. But you got to think tonight you go out with your guns, with your backs against the wall. I expect big minutes from Booker, Ayton, and CP3.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to play 47-48, but I don't know if you guys noticed. I don't know if it was game 4, maybe game 3. He after a timeout, they kind of got him coming off the court, and he said, "I'm gonna just shoot. So you think he's maybe trying to create too much? Like he's trying to be that point guard who's trying to create too much, get other guys the ball. And in the closeout game versus the Clippers, he went off and he was killing it from threes. And I mean, he dropped 40. So do we need to see that Chris Paul, the more aggressive Chris Paul, or do we need to see a balance of it, or do we need to see him as just a distributor getting the other guys the rock tonight in game 6?
I have to agree with most of what you guys said. I do think it is kind of a legacy game for him, as much as I'd hate to say it. I'm a big CP3 fan, but to answer what you ended with, Ron, I don't. For watching last game and for my eyes, Chris Paul was pretty aggressive last game. He just wasn't getting a lot to fall. He still ended up with 21 points, but he had a pretty bad spell there in the third quarter where he couldn't get anything to fall. And I think a lot of it does have to do with what Ben pointed out earlier, the fact that the Bucks have gone small and they've taken away Chris Paul's advantage of going up against that slow 5, because now who is he trying to beat to the bucket? He's trying to beat Giannis to the bucket. He's trying to beat Middleton to the bucket. He's trying to beat Tucker to the bucket. It's a lot harder when you're looking at it that way. So hopefully the Suns have another, wrinkle that they can throw in there. But, I'm not too sure, what they have left. I think Giannis is a guy that right now he's fully comfortable with himself. I think he's in the zone, much like Middleton's in the zone right now. And then when you got Holiday coming in and completing that big 3, the Bucks are hard to beat, man. And, and I hate to say it too. We pointed it out a couple of weeks ago when the Suns were in the middle of their run that this has been, kind of a golden road for the Suns. They faced teams at every step of the way that didn't really have their full team together. They played the Nuggets. They played the Lakers without AD. They played the Nuggets without Jamal Murray, even though they had kind of already adjusted to him. But anytime you throw out Campazzo and Rivers for 40 minutes a game, you're not really going to win much. So they got lucky there too. And then you played the Clippers without Kawhi, and they still kind of struggled there. This is the first team that they're getting a full strength, and it's a weird sight for me because the Suns have played pretty well all year, but they've done well, kind of like how the Spurs used to do well by not making mistakes, and now they're starting to make mistakes and kind of play below where they've been at the past couple of weeks, and it's not looking good for them. So I'm kind of worried right now. The panic button has been pressed. It's not looking good here for Suns people.
And one thing that I was thinking about, man, is I mean, I was one of them. I'm guilty of it. Is not looking at this Milwaukee team and giving them enough credit. They came in as the underdogs in the series, but when you stop and look at their roster, they have the guys, they have the OGs. They weren't performing up to their potential, and now that they are performing like that, it's like, man, Drew, this is why they got Drew, Holiday. This is why Lopez is still a good, big man. This is why Middleton has made all-star games. So now that they're playing to their full potential, you kind of see what the Bucks have. And I was one of the guys that at the beginning was, Drew Holiday was stupid trade. He's not much. Middleton he's great, but he's not. He can't be the leading scorer.
Level.
And they're proving everybody wrong. And then on the flip side, you look at the Suns, and they had a lot of praise. Oh, these rookies are killing it, Booker and Ayton. Oh my God! And then when you stop and think about it, you're like, man, they're rookies for a reason though, because when crunch time is coming around, Booker's going off, but Ayton, Johnson, they're not showing up when the Suns really need them.
And the other thing, too, that I want to point out is the rebounding. At first, when the Bucks started going on their winning streak here and reeled off the 3 wins, the first 2, I didn't know if it was sustainable because they were beating the Suns on the boards and on the offensive boards. They were killing them on the offensive boards, and that's something that usually doesn't hold up. But they've still continued to beat them on the offensive rebounds, and that's even when going small. And that's also partly why you got to give Giannis the heads up for MVP. He had 5 offensive rebounds last game. He's giving it. He's laying it all on the line. Yeah. He's laying it all on the line out there.
I mean, who do the Suns have to rebound besides DeAndre Ayton? It's nobody. And that's because he had 17 rebounds last game, and he goes off by that much, and he's still. It's just the Suns are on their last straw, man, and their jumpers are going to have to be hitting tonight. I don't expect. I know I was big on they hitched everything to this Drew Holiday trade. Pretty much all their future was a lot of first-round picks that they sent to get him instead of Eric Bledsoe. And he has had those games. And when all 3 of them have gone off, they've won all of those games. They just haven't done it consistently. But
they looked unstoppable.
But they haven't done it in back-to-back games either. So let's see if they can do it again. They are at home. So this is when, the guys who aren't considered superstars and maybe I'm not saying the Holiday's a role player, but this is where your PJ Tuckers and your Connaughtons, they're really comfortable and they have those games where they give you 12 points, 14 points, whatever it may be.
The champagne's going to be in the locker room.
I saw
potentially ready to go.
I even saw a capper on a Connaughton play. I think it was points, rebounds, assists over 12.5. So I mean,
I like that. He's playing like 30 minutes a game, and he's hit 2 threes in every game of the series.
I saw one like in game 2 or 3 on Tucker over 5.5 points. Then he had like 7 in the first quarter because he had a couple of quick buckets. So yeah, there's some props out there to be had on those role players for sure. So enough of looking in the past in game 5. Let's for tonight, guys. It's game 6. Like I said in the beginning, it's a potential closeout game. The Bucks are up 3-2. Let me just run off some odds for you guys. The current series odds, as Ben was talking about earlier, the Bucks are minus 410 right now to win the series, and the Suns, you can grab them at plus 315 if you believe in them getting 2 here. Enough of the series, though. Going to the game, the Suns are 4.5-point dogs, and the over-under is set at 221. Is there a side that you guys like here? If you were to wager, not necessarily that you're taking this bet, but do you lean any way?
I mean, I tend to lean towards the Suns, but that is the way that I have leaned for most of the series. Obviously, right early on, and not that I took them every game in Milwaukee, but not so right then. I think that it's still a lot of points. The line was 5; it's gone down to 4.5, and that's because you know how good Milwaukee's record is at home. And then this morning, we all find out that Scott Foster's reffing the game tonight.
Scott Foster. Yeah.
So you think that with Scott Foster and CP3 playing in the game, you think that the line's only going to get bigger, and no, it drops down half a point still. I mean, you're going to get the best that the Suns got to offer. Like I said, you're going to get the starters playing, big minutes. This could be the last basketball game of the NBA season, man. Crazy to say it.
That's why I got the jersey on.
Although it is really late July, and we're lucky to get basketball at this point in July. It's over late June or very early July. So looking forward to it. I would say, gun to my head, the Suns stick around. The Suns make it tough, but I don't like a side, to be honest. Okay. I don't like a side. I just want to see a game 7, so I'm going to go Suns plus 4.5.
Or what about leans and locks?
Let's throw this up one more time so we can get everybody in it. Bucks plus 4. I think. I mean, this is why you have the plus 4.5, right? This is why you have the plus 4.5 because you can have Milwaukee win. They're at home. All signs point to them winning, but you have the Suns who can potentially win. So you can have the win and you can have them cover. That's what the plus 4.5 means to the novice bettor, or some people who don't know what the plus 4 and minus 4 wins. It means that the Suns can still lose, but if they lose by 4 points or less, you still win your bet. So that's what I'm on. But as you guys know me, I always buy the points. So I took Suns plus 5.5. It actually did open up at 5. Is that right,
Yeah.
Roland? Or do you guys?
It opened up at 5.
Yeah, it opened up at 5. So that's good sign for the Suns. So my final bet was on the game side was Suns plus 4.5. Suns plus 5.5. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm actually going to go the same way here. I'm a little worried because, like I said earlier, I do think Giannis is in the zone. I do think he has hit some stride here, and he's playing the best basketball of his career, arguably at the right time. Man, the whole Scott Foster thing does worry me, but I'm going to go Suns plus 4.5. I do think the defense for the Bucks has really created a problem for the offense. When we're talking about the Suns, they attempted the least threes that they've had attempted all series. I think they only put up 23 threes. They're usually in the upper 30s, nearing the 40s, and their assists per game are down. And I'm thinking that's going to get back up. I'm not betting on Drew Holiday, Connaughton, and Bobby Portis to have good games back to back. I do think there's going to be a little bit of regression there. But hey, I've been betting on regression. I bet on regression last game, and I was wrong. I didn't think they were going to be able to sustain their current pace, but they did. The shot making in this series has been some of the best
crazy
that I've seen in a while.
Yep.
And it's not even just the Bucks. I mean, Devin Booker was making some crazy threes at the end of the game to keep the Suns in it. But I just think something's got to give, and I'm betting on the Bucks. I think they're going to falter a little bit here, and we're going to find ourselves back in Phoenix. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks go ahead and close it out tonight.
Do y'all make anything of the Scott Foster effect or no?
I do. I mean, when his record is 1-12,
that's a crazy stat, bro.
Something like that. 1-12 or 1-13.
1-13 in that one game, he didn't even play. Like he didn't play. He was on the team but didn't play.
It was was it the game that Chris Paul or that the Suns won when Scott Foster refed? Was that crazy alley-oop with point?
That was the game. They ate alley-oop. Booker the inbound. Crowder.
Crowder. Yeah, that was the game that they won. And the game before that, that's what it took. And I think before that, they had lost. That was the other game they got like blown out in or something like that. But I don't put too much weight on it. I mean, I don't think refs have that much influence on the game. It might just be a hell of a coincidence, or you could look at it as, hey, it's got to hit now, because since it is 1-13.
They have influence on the game. You can't say the refs don't have influence on the game. They have the whistles to blow every foul that they want.
But for a stat like that.
Yeah, I think the whistles are definitely going to come into play here, but I wouldn't look too much into it. I think a lot of it's still taking place, on the court, with the players, and just not even looking at who's reffing the game. Like I was saying earlier, the Bucks have been out rebounding the Suns like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think Milwaukee has 68 offensive rebounds through 5 games compared to Phoenix's 36. I mean, that's insane. That's almost double. Yeah, that's almost double what the Suns have. And, when you go and pair that with the shot taking or the shot making that the Bucks have been, the clip that they're making shots at, it's a tough recipe to defeat when you're the Suns. You got to find a way to combat that. The problem is I don't know what you do when Aiden's out of the game. There's no way you're going to beat them on the boards when Aiden's out of the game. And even then it's hard to do it.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I would say, check this stat out, bro. And this is kind of goes into what Roland just said and my play. In Game 5, the Suns shot 55% from the field, 68% from the 3-point line, and they only had 8 turnovers, and they still lost the game. So at home. So like Roland said, there's been crazy shot making in this series. So when you think that one team's going to pull away, the other team comes back. And when one team has an 18-point lead, the other team comes back. This is a crazy series, man. And I'm glad we're having good basketball like this. But yeah, that was just a little stat that I had wrote down because I thought it was crazy. 55% from the field, 68% from 3-pointers, and only 8 turnovers. So it's a crazy stat, man.
You usually win those games.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Ben, my man?
Oh, yeah. Well, Ben, do you have something to say?
No. I was just going to say that just with the Scott Foster thing, I mean, maybe they sent him in, to do the reverse heel on us, bro. Like maybe he's gonna go for the good. He's gonna get one for the good guys this time. Maybe him and Chris Paul.
Yeah.
This is the makeup one, but like Edgar says, it might just be that crazy stat that they found. That one ESPN stat that the first player ever with this, and this. They always find that one ridiculous stat. So this is that one Scott Foster fun fact.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a close game. It's all going to come down to getting stops in the fourth quarter and whoever can get some easy offense in the fourth, because this game's going to go down to the wire. I don't think it's going to be a blowout tonight. Maybe a team pulls away at the end because of fouls and whatnot, but it's going to be a fairly high contested game. So I like the Suns here.
It should be.
They got to clean it up in the fourth quarter. Chris Paul has been turning the ball over in the fourth quarter in crunch time throughout the series, and that's really proved to hurt them.
Do you all lean any way with the total?
I like the under. I think we're going to get probably the hardest defense on both sides of the ball from each team. Although I think they've been playing pretty hard on defense the last couple of games. It's just the shot making's been unbelievable. And I think they're under missed by a few points.
They blew it. Last game, I think they kind of blew it out by a bit just because the shot making was ridiculous. Like both teams shot over 55%, but every other game of the series had been, right on the number. Either a shot at the buzzard, didn't get it to go over, or either some free throws, barely got the total to go over. So it's been right on the line. I tend to agree with you. I tend to think that the game tightens up. Even last game 5, there wasn't that many possessions. It was just the efficiency of their offense. I don't have the exact numbers, but they were knocking down everything. Yeah, it wasn't even that they had, an abundance of possessions. It was just they were hitting.
Dude, I don't know if y'all could hear that, but it's pouring in Mission right now, bro.
Is that rain? I was gonna say,
dude, it's like thundering like crazy, bro. So for whatever reason, if the feed goes off, it's not because I didn't pay the Wi-Fi. All right, dude, that was a loud one.
That's great, Ron. I hope you don't lose connection.
Yeah, you're gonna have to mute that mic when you're not on it, because
I know
we're gonna get scared out here.
Let's have some fun, guys. We've been talking about the game. We all like to wager on these games. It adds a little bit more fun to it. We've been giving out some plays here on a daily basis. If you guys have been following us on TikTok, Instagram, and we've been posting them on Facebook also, go ahead and check them out. Been doing pretty good in baseball, but we have some plays for the game tonight. Who wants to get it started off? We got Ben here first on the list. Ben, let's take us through your 2 plays for tonight, man.
A couple of things that we alluded to, and with me, I mean, I've tended to go towards the Sun side with whatever I'm picking for that game, whether it be a player prop or backing them on the side. But with this game, like I said, with their backs against the wall, I expect big minutes from the starters. I expect 40-plus minutes from Ayton, 40-plus minutes from Booker. And with Ayton, his rebound set at 12.5. Last game, like we talked about, he came in with 17 rebounds. I mean, with Sarge going out, we said, it might not be that big of a deal, but you can't play Kaminsky at all, and the other guys just don't have the build to stay in front of Giannis. So Sarge was at least, a bigger guy, a little thicker pause. But they're struggling when Ayton goes off, like you alluded to, Roland. And I think that Ayton's going to have to stay on the floor at all costs, unless there's foul trouble. And there was foul trouble when Scott Foster reffed that game 3. But I think that he's gonna stay clear of fouls, and I think that he kills his 12.5 number. Like you said, they're hurting for rebounds. And if they're grabbing them, it's because Ayton's bringing them down.
Okay. You got one more play up there.
Yeah, the other one was Booker over 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I mean, we've seen him with back-to-back 40-point games. I expect him to go out shooting like any of us would expect Devin Booker to go out shooting. I think everybody respects his game. He's trying to put the team on his back. They've just come up short. And it sucks that it's been off the heels of back-to-back 40-point performances. But here we're getting points, rebounds, and assists over 40. So you got to think Booker's good for a 30-piece at least scoring, and then maybe he can mix in the rebounds and assists. He will be on the floor for the majority of the game. I was telling the guys before, I expect it to kind of be like KD in that Nets series where if he wasn't on the court, they kind of didn't have a chance at all. So barring any foul trouble for Booker and he did show us that he could get a little aggressive defensively. And he had a game where questionable 6th foul, what might not have been called on him, didn't end up mattering. But I like Booker. I mean, this is a prop that he could eclipse just scoring, like he's done in the previous 2 games. He might not even need those rebounds and assists to come into play. So yeah. I think that these, I like them because I think that there's a lot of value based on how many minutes we're going to get from those guys. We just need them to be efficient in those minutes now.
Yeah, and I think his point prop, Ben, alone was 30.5. So if you look at his games, I mean, he's hit it in 3 out of the 5 games. He's hit 30.5. Obviously, in the last 2 games, in game 2, he hit 31.
Right. He just had that one really bad game where, he didn't play much of the 4th quarter, and it was that first game 3 in Milwaukee. So yeah, like you said, he's been putting up buckets. We just need him to fill up the stat sheet a little more with the rebounds and assists.
Very good.
All right. Well, it looks like I'm up next. So I have the Suns plus 1.5 in the first quarter, minus 120. Kind of going back to the well on this one. I've played this a few times throughout the playoffs. The Suns are a great first quarter team. They had the best first quarter against a spread record in the NBA throughout the whole season. And they held up in form throughout most of the playoffs with their first quarter form. So I'm going to go Suns first quarter. Plus 1.5. It's a little scary taking it in Milwaukee, but they did win the last first quarter in Milwaukee. So I do think that they're okay going on the road. Even though this is a lot of their guys' first time in the finals, they do have, Chris Paul, who's there as a calming presence. And I don't think Booker and Aiden are afraid of the moment. So I think we're going to get the Suns' best punch here in the first quarter. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Suns plus 1.5. Minus 120 in the first quarter. Then I'm going to follow this up. I'm going on the other side or the other team here for my player prop. I'm going with Giannis. I'm going to take his points, rebounds, and assists over 51.5. There's a little bit of juice on that, minus 135. But I think we're just going to get the ultimate effort from Giannis. I'm expecting over 30 points. I saw his rebound prop is set at 12.5. There's a little bit of juice on the over on that prop if you just want to take his rebound prop. And then I think he's going to be completely involved in terms of getting the offense set up. Him and Middleton have been making magic together on the pick and roll. He's been seeking guys out on the fast break. He's really been doing it all for the team. He's missed the mark, I think, the last 2 games, but it's an easy total when you think about it when a guy like Giannis and all that he does and the box score. So I'm fully expecting the best performance or one of the better performances from Giannis that we've got.
That MVP performance?
That MVP performance. And, it might be viewed as a little bit of a hedge when you're taking Giannis on the other side to go ahead and get over 51.5 points, rebounds, and assists. But that's okay because I'm not on the Suns full game. So
Roland, remember when he came back and that number was like at 41.5 or 42.5, and you also gave it away in one of those videos? Like the value, like now it's 10 points. That knee really wasn't a problem, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so if you're thinking that the Bucks finished it out and Giannis is your MVP, if someone's going to get it done for the Bucks, it's going to be Giannis, and it's going to be filling up the stat sheet. So, yeah, that's where I'm at for today's plays.
Right on, man. Well, I guess I am next here. All right, man. So, like I said earlier,
hurricane season was over.
Man, I'm about to. Hopefully, this is a sign. Hopefully, this is a sign that we about to make it. We about to make it rain today with these picks, man. Hopefully that's a sign right there. But let me throw these back up real quick. We went over Big Paps. We went over Dr. Saucy, Mr. Roland. So I hit y'all with the plus 5.5. Like I said, I bought the point. That's why it's at minus 134. It's not, your 105, your 110 like you usually see. I don't want to miss it by a free throw. I don't want to miss it by the original line was at 5 and, all those little things that you're going to say after the game. So plus 5.5. We can get a Bucks win. by 5 points. I think that the Suns keep it close. Like you guys were talking about earlier, it could be a Chris Paul legacy game. They're going to be on the floor, 47, 48 minutes. The Suns are. So they're going to be fighting and scratching. One thing that we haven't covered is that we haven't seen that regression a little bit from the Bucks, I guess you could say. Middleton's been going off. Giannis had one game where he was okay, but he was still solid. Connaughton's, doing really well. And so we haven't seen that game 3 Suns performance from the Bucks yet. And you never know. Maybe it's in their heads that they have to close it out tonight. There's going to be a lot of pressure. The fans are going to be rowdy. So maybe we don't see that great of a performance from the Bucks.
They haven't closed out any series at home, to be fair.
There you go.
They usually close out game 6s, but they've been doing it, as the home, having home court. So game 6 has been on the road for them. So this could be their first, closeout series here.
Well, that's what we're praying for. That's what we're counting on, man. So going back to the picks, so plus 5.5. Now, again, we talked about this as well. Second quarter winner to win the game. Obviously, there's not a line out for that yet. But game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, especially game 5, that's when the Bucks, had that massive second quarter, and the Bucks won the second quarter. Every game, every team that has won the second quarter has gone on to win the game. So be on the lookout for that. Either take it live at halftime, but that's a very good play that has gone 5-0. So let's just ride that out tonight. And me, I have to sprinkle a little free play. I got that Colin Morikawa money right there. So what I'm gonna do is I took this. It's at the very bottom. It says free play sprinkle. Take the tie at halftime.
Someone's going to hit a buzzer beater at half for you.
No. Hey, we did get a game 4. It was tied at halftime. Okay. So if the game is tied at half, you pretty much hit the bet. If the Bucks win, it's plus 1,800. If the Suns win, it's plus 2,700. So if you get a tie at half and either team wins, bro, you're in the money. Regardless if you put $5, $10, whatever it is, bro, you're in the money.
I was gonna say the game ends for you at halftime, but you got the Suns plus 5.5 as well. But with those, with those you're covered. I know you always like doing those exotic. One in a million plays.
Why not, man?
If any of you guys want to put in that bet, remember we've been plugging it. You guys can go to Bet King Online. They have a good online website that you guys can use. Use the promo code WTBS, and you'll get yourselves 100% free play on your deposit. So they'll match your deposit 100%. You put in $100, they'll give you $100 to use in free play. So go ahead and use that code WTBS, and you can find them at Bet King Online on Twitter. You guys got anything else for tonight?
Man, I think that's it, bro.
Are you all hoping to get more basketball? I know that we have a little football podcast scheduled on Thursday, and the finals kind of it revolves around the finals.
Yes,
Roland, how eager are you to get to football, Roland?
And selfishly, I kind of want the series to end tonight. Because we put in a lot of work on the NFC West preview. I'm excited to do that show for you guys and give you all a breakdown of each team, who we think is going to win the division, and if we have any plays for each of the teams. So it's going to get real fun for the NFL. So I'm
NFC West
chomping at the bit.
Right?
Yeah, NFC West potentially the best division in football. If you believe in that, they're up there this year.
The 2 best words in sports are what, guys? Come on. I know you guys know this. The 2 best words in sports. Well, but Game 7, bro.
Game 7, that's true.
Game 7. Come on, Game 7. I do not mind.
I want a Game 7. I'm down for a Game 7.
Yeah, I'm down for a Game 7.
Either way, we'll be here with the people breaking it down.
Game 7. If there is a Game 7, we'll have a live. If not, we're going to be recording some. Yeah.
And I think we got a new nickname. We got
Ron Exotic. Hey, This is the first time, guys, that we've done a show that's just been strictly on YouTube. I believe. I know we posted.
On vacation. Justin's on vacation.
Yeah. So we weren't able to do the live Facebook. So thank you to Edgar for coming on here, and obviously Justin was commenting also. Diego Flores, hey, thanks, bro, for hanging out with us. That was cool. This was a strictly YouTube show. The link was on Facebook, so if y'all want to share the link, bro, share the link, share this link, and subscribe, man. Please subscribe to We Talking About Sports YouTube page. I mean, that's gonna help us a lot. And if you hit the little like button, also, that kind of puts our videos into other random people that are on YouTube and they watch videos about betting and about sports. It'll kind of pop up on their feed also. So
tell them about the algorithms, Ron. Explain the algorithms.
No.
That's for another episode.
This is the man behind the machine here. This is the man behind the machine.
No. But man, that's it, bro. Justin, you're missed, but we are thinking of you. Roland did a hell of a job today. Ben did a hell of a job today. Now let's go get this money, boys. Anything y'all got to say? Anything y'all got to say? Let's sign out. Peace.